Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my other guy on the other side, Mr. Cantu.
How's it going? How's it doing? Great to be back after the All-Star break.
Yeah, very good to be back after the All Star break. Hope everyone had a good break too from baseball. Of course, I mean, the home run derby was good. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was your winner, and Angel actually won the damn home run derby contest that we had. So, congrats to you on getting almost all of it right,
Almost,
dude.
bro.
You almost got everything right except I think it was what Luis Robert Jr. and Rosarena in the
Yeah,
finals.
that's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty good. Not gonna lie, but even the All Star Game, National League won. If you did not hear about that, I mean Elias Diaz was the first Rockies player to win the MVP. Eighth inning too. I mean this guy comes in a pitch hit situation and hits a bomb and gets the MVP just from doing that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the only time there's an mostly the Rangers in the infield, the AO lost and they went 0 for 9. So I know.
Then George Kirby allowed a run to AOS, at its finest right there. But I mean, it was a good atmosphere out there in Seattle, dude. I mean, it was very beautiful. I was able to go to the All Star game, even go out there and see the red carpet show as well. Orbit being Orbit himself with the box of Kleenex. I thought that was pretty funny. A lot of kids were out there booing him, and of course, he already had to throw that Kleenex at them. But other than that, I mean, it's good to be back, like you were saying. Episode 110, Astros fly high in Anaheim. Angels in the outfit. I was thinking of that as a title, but I was like,
That's
nah,
a good one too.
we'll go with Fly High. I mean, because the guys, I mean, Chas McCormick had a bunch of plays at the wall. Kyle Tucker robbing a home run from Mike Moustakas out the wall as well. And then, of course, the balls were launched. Jose Brady with the bomb, Alex Bregman with the bomb, Kyle Tucker with the bomb. So it flew high over there in Disneyland. So, Angel, give me that one word. Describe this series against the Los Angeles Angels.
How about wow? There was a wild series, 3 game series. I think the first game was the only normal game when the Astros won
Yeah.
7-5, and then game two I had a friend who told me he turned off the game. He was like the Astros were gonna win, and then he didn't even know the Astros had lost till Sunday morning because that's how confident he thought they were gonna win. And then I think Sunday was just a repeat of that self, just to counter luck that the Astros had the luck that time around, stealing one from Anaheim. So again, it was a wild series, back and forth, punches rocking. It was a great. I mean, it's a great time to like for baseball in that series.
I mean, there was a bunch of runs going from the seventh inning in that second game all the way down. And in the third game, it just gets even more crazier. And people just forgot about the first game. Everybody was like, oh, well, I thought we won the series or lost the series. I mean, it didn't even matter. I mean, because them two games were just like the main part of that series. But luckily, the Astros got away and won the series. It could have been a sweep. Well, not sweep, but a sweep.
Sweet.
But it just did not turn out that way. Obviously, the Astros did take the series, as a good sign, but at the same time, too. Um, at the same time, I mean, runners in scoring position for that last game was bad. 3 for 17, left on base. I mean, 10 plus. I mean, they got to do a better job at that if they're going to want to go to the ultimate go. But, Angel, let's start out with our shout outs from this series against the Angels. And, hey, how about you start it off for a change? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Jim Crane needs to count, start counting those Benjamins. I know Mattress Mac has, but Jim Crane needs to be ready to pay because they need to pay that man and Kyle Tucker. He went 7 for 12. That's a 583 batting average in 3 games. So that's always special. That's
Wow.
always good. 2 doubles. Everybody knows that one home run that was hit by a mile, 6 RBIs and 3 walks. 2 game-saving catches on Sunday. I firmly believe if Kyle Tucker does not lay out for that ball, that run scores, and the Astros will go to extra innings, and you know how that fate comes in when they go to extra innings. Not too well.
Not too well.
So 2 great catches, and I don't know if you saw when Kyle Tucker caught robbed that home run from Mike Moustakas. It says that
Hmm.
he gets us or he got us. You know,
Oh, yeah, like in the wall right there.
yeah. So you
That
know,
that was so funny, like how it just happened to be right there with that, with that image captured, and of course the video being played in slow motion too is just even more better.
yeah. Like Astros fans always say, if no one got us, Kyle Tucker does. You know, so it was great. It was great. And then shout out to Christian Javier, bounce back game. His pitch count was still pretty high, but the way he performed his last few outings, a very bounce back game. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. That's 7 strikeouts. That's great because if you followed us and you follow the Astros, you can see that Christian Javier's strikeout numbers have been very low. Two, three. That's usually where his
Hmm.
range. But 7 strikeouts is a great great thing to see. 91 pitches, 57 strikes in his first game back since July 3rd. Again, he didn't pitch before the All Star break. They wanted to get have a cool head, save his arm a little bit, and it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you needed from Christian Javier. It was not the best start, I would say, but I mean, it's a positive start. You got to be positive at the end because this is going to be your number 2 guy in this starting rotation unless the Astros make a move at the trade deadline for a starting pitcher. But this is a positive sign seeing Christian Javier back. I mean, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 hits and 3 earned runs. That's not bad to me because yeah, I mean, you're not letting the guys. I mean, there was a lot of hard contact. I'll give the Angels that, but at the same time, too, you're putting, you're letting them put the ball in play, either from a ground ball to a flyout. So very positive outing for Mr. Javier himself. But let me go with Chas McCormick. Chazzy Fizz, Ma,
As he
where is the meatloaf kind of guy? 7 for 11, 636 batting average, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 walks. This guy looks so comfortable at the plate. He looks like he's in the zone and that batter's box. 2 home run game, first time since June 2021. You got to go back to that time when he had 2 home runs in one game. So it was great to see Chaz swing the bat. Carries a 146 WRC plus. That is a good sign for Astros fans to see. Not just superstar players being Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Jordan Alvarez, but Chas McCormick with a 146 WRC plus and a 2.4 WAR. That is the second best in this Astros roster, being the first being Framber Valdez. That is so crazy to see that he is the second best player on this roster as of now with the 2.4 WAR. So glad to see him. Last 11 games, this was a tweet from Brian McTaggart, 410 batting average, 489 on base percentage, 821 slugging with the OPS over 1. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. And of course, there's no secret that he won the AL Player of the Week. Yesterday, the Astros announced, even MLB announced him and CJ Abrams for the National League. But Chas McCormick, well-deserved AL Player of the Week. And it's kind of weird and ironic because them two aren't superstars. You and Chas McCormick and CJ Abrams, I mean, I thought that was pretty funny. But, I mean, this guy is stepping up big time. He's kind of showing the Astros front office, hey, I'm here to stay. That center field position is mine. No one's going to take that away from me. I'm here for the long run, and he is proving it big time. I think he's right now he has a 280 batting average, so he's helping that bottom of the lineup. So that's a good place to have him. And then of course I got to go with the franchise being on my pitching side. Oh, you want to add something? Go ahead.
Yeah, before you move on to Framber, I just want to bring into light how great that uh weighted runs created plus of 146 is. The MLB average is 100, and he's
Mm-hmm.
at 146. So
46.
I just wanted to bring into light how amazing that number is. My bad.
It's huge. I mean, average, like you were saying, the average is 100. I think Bregman right now is at 100. And for sure, I mean, Chas McCormick is showing out. Like that's what you need from a guy like him. Like I was saying, it's not going to be a superstar kind of player. He's not going to be the guy that's going to be at the All-Star game, but he's going to give you that heart, and he's doing that right now on the field and in the plate. But like I was saying, my pitching guy is going to be Framber Valdez, the franchise. La Grasa, I mean, he's done it all. He's the reason why he's on this pitching staff as the ace. 6 and a third, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts, 103 pitches, 77 strikes. Matches his career high with 13 strikeouts as well. I honestly thought he was going to get to 14. The way he was cruising through the 6th inning and then going into that 7. He had I think it was Zach Neto,
Yeah,
had a 2-strike count. And I thought he was going to get him, but it happens. It's baseball. Of course, he did come out of that game with a leg cramp. Luckily, it was a calf cramp or left calf cramp, according to Brian McTaggart. So nothing serious. Of course, everybody's going to be monitoring that. Framber Valdez, as well, said on the post-game show that he's going to be working out with the athletic trainer just to make sure everything's good to be ready for his next start. But Angel, I want to ask you this because there have been a lot a talk about leaving him and going in that 7th inning with 91 pitches. I mean, what think about it? Would you have let him go back for that inning though with 91 pitches? If you're the manager, you're Dusty Baker, you're gonna let him still go out there and pitch that inning.
I would. I I feel like if Framber Valdez does not pitch the 7th inning, people would be like, "Oh, why did Dusty pull Framber Valdez so early?" You know, I think Dusty Baker did the right decision of putting Framber Valdez out there. He is your ace. He is the best pitcher you have to win you a ball game, and it's just a situational thing, right? Like he knows the bullpen's kind of taxed, what it could probably use like a greater day off. Um, but he did the right thing. Injuries happen. Injuries are unpredictable. So obviously, if Dusty Baker knew, hey, I put Framber Valdez, he's gonna get hurt, he wouldn't have done it. So um, I think it was a great choice. It's just unfortunate that he had a leg cramp, but yeah, I think that like if I was a Baker, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's the right move because, like you were saying too, the bullpen it's been taxed. And just think about it. That first series, I mean, the bullpen wasn't used a lot, but it was to some. But then next thing you know, you had to bring in these, your high leverage guys. You had to bring Hector Neris. You had to bring in Brian Abreu, Phil Maton, Brian Presley. I mean, these guys just got back from the break, and next thing you know, they're in back-to-back high leverage situations. So it kind of sucks, but at the same time, too, I 100% agree. This guy has had what, a week off, I believe. And of course, people are going to be like, "Well, we're going to need him for the postseason and things like that." You got to think too. The Astros need to make it to the postseason. Still, they're in a wild card position
The
right now. They're
last
not
wild card position.
the last wild card spot in the American League. And think about that. AL East right now is just, I think all of them are over 500. The AL Central is not promising right now, of course. The AL West, you still got, it's going to be Texas and Houston right now until the Angels get everything figured out. Mariners, the same way. They're trying to figure their season out. I mean, you still got to play in order to get into the postseason. So bringing your ace out with 91 pitches, and I don't even think Framber was kind of not even phased by it because he even said he was in the zone. He didn't even know he had 13 strikeouts as well until he left the ball game. So, and in a situation like that, we both agree on, you got to let him finish that inning, even though he did have a leg cramp. Of course, in the precaution reasons, you do take him out. So, just wanted to get your input on that. And my last and final shout out, and I will give a mini shout out to Alex Bregman. 6 for 16 this series, 375 batting average, a double, home run, two RBIs, and a walk. Collects his first four-hit game on Sunday. I thought that was shocking.
Yeah.
He's been playing since 2016, and this is his first four-hit game in his career. So, shout out to Breggy to get that under his belt. But my mini shout out, I'm gonna go with Mr. Joe Kuno or Joe Cunell. I mean, I don't know how you say that man's name, but I mean, if you look at, I don't know if you saw him pitch, dude. He looks like a guy that you would bring out of the stands. Like he does not look like an MLB pitcher. But I mean, he did the job for the Astros with, with the arms being so taxed, like I was saying, and overworked. Uh, Inning and two thirds, two hits, three earned runs, one walk. I mean, it doesn't sound promising, but at the same time, too, credits to that guy. Not he hasn't pitched in Houston ever since I believe that trade had happened when the Astros were at Minute Maid against the Cincinnati Reds. So give that guy some credit where it's due. I mean, yeah, three earned runs ain't pretty, and especially with the inning and two thirds. But hey, he kind of not let the Astros use them big time arms, and I highly doubt too Dusty Baker was going to let that happen. So there's my mini shout out. But I think that's all our shout outs that we got.
Yeah, that is our shout outs. It was a great game on around, great series. It could have been anybody. I know yesterday, well, not on Sunday, our player of the game was Chaz and Bregman, but it could have easily been Kyle Tucker too. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
great all around series, and Astros are fortunate they came out victorious in that series. But moving on to Astros injury updates. Again, this is the main reason why I believe the Astros are where they are in second place, is because of the injuries. Let's start with Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve was taking soft toss on a tee in a cage Friday. He also ran the bases prior to Sunday's game. Baker said Altuve will go with the Astros to Colorado, so he's not ready for a rehab assignment yet. I know they mentioned that between Alvarez, Urquidy, and Alvarez. I'm sorry, Alvarez, Urquidy,
October.
and Altuve. Altuve was a little farthest out, right? I think he was a week behind them, two other players. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it'll be interesting to see. But productive signs from Altuve that he is doing all those baseball activities. Now with Jordan Alvarez hit again in Minute Maid Park and threw and ran Sunday. Danner Brown on Alvarez illness. He's going to be back in a couple of days. We plan to get him out there and get him back on track. Thank God it was only a head cold. He should be fine. So, just to give you some feedback, Alvarez was supposed to start a rehab assignment, I think in Sugarland, and then he wasn't in the lineup, so everybody was kind of like, "Wait, what's going on?" Right? But it was just an illness. He's just a cold, so nothing to worry about there. He should be get back on track. Maybe that delays his that delays his major league, like up bring him up to major league about 2 3 days. But you saw what Alvarez did with no rehab assignment and during opening day,
Yeah.
so I'm not concerned there at all. Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley was hitting off a T Friday. Brantley ran the bases prior to Sunday's game. Dana Brown on Dana Brown on Brantley's status. We're hoping to get him back one way or the other. It would be a big bonus. Again, it's still kind of in the air with Michael Brantley.
Hmm.
Again, prior to the All Star break, he wasn't doing any baseball activities, and we don't know what he did over the break. But seeing him do baseball activities is a bonus, right? Into plus.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we'll see him this year. I mean,
He still
hopefully.
thinks.
Uh, I don't
I
think so.
think honestly, it could be a September kind of thing, and then I
Okay.
believe I still firmly believe he'll be in the if the Astros make it to the postseason, he'll be on the roster. And just think about it in a difficult situation if the Astros need a bat. I mean, who else to call up
Yeah.
than the professional hitter himself, Michael Brantley? So if anything, of course, Dana Brown and they've said it before in the Astros organization for the trade deadline that they're gonna go get, and they're trying to gonna go get a left-handed bat and a power bat as well. So, if they do get this left-handed bat, good. And it's even a bonus, like what Dana Brown was saying, if Brantley could get back on track into hitting, and if Brantley's able to play at least, a couple of games before, if the Astros, like I said, get to the postseason, that's a big bonus because you got a bat like that on deck. I mean, in the dugout on the bench. And I said this before, I think he's going to just be into that Carlos Beltran, in 2017 role, just being a leader and just, trying to help the guys out. But if he needs to be called up for a bat, I think he is not going to be hesitant to grab a bat.
I have a question for you. So I know it's up in the air if Michael Brantley is going to be in the Astros uniform this year. Like you're saying, yes, as a leadership role, right? But the trade deadline is fast approaching, and if you remember, they got Justin Verlander in I believe like in late
No, it was all
August,
yeah, it was August.
late August, right? And
Mhm.
he was able to play in the playoffs. Now that's not the case this year. I think that was a rule implemented. Like if you get a guy in August, he's not allowed to play in the playoffs. So the
Mhm.
trade deadline is very serious, right? Do you think the Astros? Rumor has it that Marcus Stroman is one of their big time guys in the Cubs that they're trying to get,
Mhm.
but we do need a bat. So you think Cody Bellinger, one of the guys that when that cheating scandal came out, was one of the most vocal guys out there about it, and how basically putting the Astros on blast. Do you think he has a chance to wind up in an Astros uniform in maybe a package with Marcus Stroman and Cody Bellinger?
I honestly think it's gonna be like how the Padres were with Juan Soto and Josh Bell. I think that's gonna be a package. I think that's
Okay.
gonna be a starting pitcher and and Cody Bellinger being the outfielder, first baseman slash. Um, if I'm the Astros, you got to get him. And if Astro fans are going to be really upset about Cody Bellinger coming to the Astros, which I understand because of the fact of what he had said, and that it was all tainted, and with Altuve's MVP, it should have been judges, kind of thing, all that stuff. Okay, you know how long ago that's been? That's been 5 years already. It's 5 years already. It doesn't matter if he wants to win a World Series and add on to his collection that
A
he
real
has.
World Series.
Not the 60 game version of the COVID year, but if he wants to win a World Series and continue adding on, by all means, bring him. I think he's going to help the team. And I feel like the Astros shouldn't kind of, oppose that. It's going to be a rental deal. I'll tell you that. I don't think the Astros are going to go get him for a long term deal, but if he's capable of what he's doing right now is crazy because I don't know if you had saw the first two games back, he had a grand slam and he had two home runs. I mean, in two games. So the power is looking like it's there. It's not looking like the Cody Bellinger that he was in the late years of his Dodger tenure. But honestly, as a baseball guy, you got to bring him in. You have
Yeah,
to.
yeah, and I don't know like if he actually did this. Like it's just me on the eye test. I think he has a different swing this year. Like it's still the high arc, but I think there's a
Mhm.
mechanic where it looks different from years past. I think that could be contributing to his success. But yeah, if the Astros were to get Cody Bellinger, I honestly believe his success is based on the fan base's reaction. Like Like it's kind of hard to,
I could get that. Yeah, I
yeah,
could get on
because
board with that.
like it's kind of hard to be in a place and get booed every day in your in your home ballpark and have and be successful. Like think about the Yankees fans. Look at Joey Gallo. Look at like Matt Carpenter. I think he has like having success with Aaron Padres. Like it's hard when
It
you
just
come.
varies, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, it will be a great addition for the Astros. I'm on board with you there, but I think it's based on the fan base to accept it. And they tell, hey,
But
it's
I'll say with the Astros fan base, they're not as like the Dodgers. They're not like the
they're not
Yankees.
brutal as much. Yeah.
They're not as brutal as the East and West Coast teams. Um, because if you think about it, I mean, Justin Verlander was gonna go apparently to the Dodgers, not source or anything like that, but you know, they wanted to bring him in. The same thing as 2019, Garrett Cole, the best pitcher in the world, and at that time in 2019, going into the 2020 free agency market, he was the best pitcher, and he was in the Astros uniform. He was in that little span of the cheating scandal. Look what Yankee fans are doing. I mean, they're happy he's there. I think the same thing if Justin Verlander had gone to LA for the Dodgers, I don't think Dodger fans would be upset. I don't think they would be booing. The same thing if they went to get Correa. I don't think they would have been mad or upset because he is a good baseball player. Good baseball players are going to make a better team. And Cody Bellinger right now, he is playing at a different level that he has played. He's almost looking like that MVP Bellinger from the Dodgers. I think that was what 2018, 2019, one of those years. He's looking like into almost getting to that fashion of himself again. But honestly, a baseball guy, you got to get the best players available. And if they're going to put Stroman and him in a package, by all means, the Astros need to. I mean, you're getting that's what you need, a starting pitcher and a guy that has a left handed bat that has power
Yeah.
right there. So,
And if we're speaking of packages, honestly, I would look in Chicago. The other team in Chicago, I would love Luis Robert in an Astros uniform
yeah,
with.
that I feel like that one's going to be tough, though.
It
I mean,
would be
Luis
tough.
Robert
It would
Jr.
be
is
tough.
a generational talent. The only thing with him, he's been hurt. I thought about that too. I was like, man, I mean, he would look good in the Astros uniform, but he's been dealing with some type of injury each year and knocking on wood because I have him on my fantasy team. I mean, he's been playing good for the Chicago White Sox this year.
Yeah, I mean, if Luis Robert comes in a package, I doubt it's Dylan Cease, but I'll take like a
Giolito
Jolito, like
or Lance
or
Lynn too. Lance Lynn, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure is going to be on the market.
for sure, for sure. Like I think it's either going to be one or the other. It would have to be an extremely generous package in order to get Dylan Cease and Luis Robert on the same trade, which I don't think the Astros are prepared to do that.
That's like at least two or three of your top five from
Yeah,
your farm system, I think.
at at the minimum, I would say. But like we're getting off on a tangent here. I know this trade,
We'll,
like
we'll have the trade
yeah,
deadline special soon. It's getting here. It gets us anxious.
you
It
know,
just builds us up, man.
when we talk about baseball, we just get excited and we just start ramping on.
Scenarios.
But we weren't even done with our injuries. We still have Jose Urquidy to talk about. Friday night, Urquidy threw 2 innings, giving up 2 unearned runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, while striking out 2 batters. Very promising. There he threw 22 pitches out of 22 pitches. Out of 32 pitches, sorry, 22 were strikes. This is what Urquidy had to say after his start. I'm very happy. I feel great. I was waiting for this moment for a long time. It was good outing, physically very good. I'm very anxious and can't wait to throw again. Uh, you know, Sounds
That
really
sounds
good.
good, man.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, sounds like he's in a good state of mind, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like he's very confident. It looks like everything's promising for him, especially if he feels like he's almost there. Oh, that's just great.
Yeah, and if you're a teacher like me and don't got anything to do, or you just happen to be off on Wednesday, 11:05 game at Sugarland, Jose Urquidy will be pitching that game. It's gonna be hot. Take your sunscreen, umbrella,
My
little
gosh, yeah.
D-Watt, uh, air, something, because it's gonna be hot out there.
Bring a fan or something. Bring an AC unit if you have to too. Find a way to get that thing in there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But speaking of like the trade deadline, trade acquisitions, a big topic. Obviously the huge main target is the bat and starting pitching. But I feel Astros are always in need of bullpen help, and this is what what Dana Brown had to say on the Astros pregame radio show, addressing the bullpen workload. We'll try to back up on some of those guys from time to time, but we'll be on the market probably too for some pen help if we can get it. our guys are taxed for the most part. So again, this trade deadline coming up, the Astros have are trying to get three key pieces: a bat, a pitcher, and a bullpen help. Now, those things aren't cheap. They're not cheap at all.
No.
They're gonna cost them a lot, like potentially draft picks or prospects or even guys on the roster.
Yeah.
Like I know like big guys that were thinking about being traded. Either Jake Myers, Corey Jokes, even Chas McCormick. You know, Gray Kessinger. Probably he's had some time in the in the bigs already. So it's gonna be a bunch of moving pieces. It'll be guys in a different uniform, but it'll interesting see how it turns out. And going on down to Brown's point on how many how this bullpen is taxed, some of these guys are already at the 40 inning threshold, and
Yeah.
it's barely the All Star break. For example, just to give you some um, idea of how crazy this is, Phil Maton right now at this moment is at 46.2 innings pitched. He has a 2.51 ERA. His highest was last year, 66.2 pitches, so he's almost there. Like
Hmm.
that's like I think less than 15 innings or a little bit more than 15 innings, and he's already there. Brian Abreu, he's at 44.1 innings pitched. Last year was his highest, 60 innings pitched. Ryan Presley, 41.1 innings pitched. Last year was at 48.1 innings pitched. Like he's already almost there to
Yeah.
his high from last year. Seth Martinez, 38 innings pitched last year. He's already at 38.2. Like, no, I'm
Man.
sorry. He his last year was 38.2. He's at 38 right now. Like, just
Still, I mean, shoot, that's
yeah,
almost right there. I mean, it's right there.
yeah. Like these guys are taxed. They've been working hard. Yeah, I mean that's their job, but at the end of the day, when they need to get their days off too, because that arm can only do so much.
Yeah, I mean, plus you don't want it to be overworked when it comes to the postseason because that's going to be the most important time that they're going to need it. I mean, that's what helped the Astros so much last year was because of their bullpen. They were so good at holding the games down or even pitching through some innings. And like you were explaining, with all the innings they've already pitched and compared to their career high, I mean, it's so like eye opening to see how many innings they've already pitched this season and how closer it's going to be. And we're just barely in July. We're in the mid point
Hmm.
of July. We're not even out of July yet. We still have August and there's still September and then maybe about 2-3 games in October before the postseason. So it's going to be crucial, I believe, that the Astros are going to go and get an arm or
Yeah.
not. If not an arm, maybe two. But the thing that's interesting too, that they don't have a lefty. So
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see if the Astros are gonna go get a lefty. They'll go get a right-handed pitcher, right-handed relief pitcher, and a left-handed relief pitcher.
Hmm.
At least two, I would think.
And going back to those numbers, like for example, Montero's 39.2 innings pitched may not seem like a lot, but you also got to take into account that he's walked batters. He's hit like the batter says get on like on the record books it might show he got one out, but that's maybe after walking two guys or allowing two hits. Like that's
Yeah.
additional pitches on. So like those numbers may not seem high for some people, but it adds up in high leverage situations.
Not just that, but I mean, plus two with bullpen games when it came to Luis Garcia's injury, Jose Urquidy's injury. Of course, too, you got to think about the young guns being Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown, this is his first regular
Hmm.
MLB season as a
France.
rookie, and JP France as well. Brandon Belak's throwing some innings as well. I mean, this starting rotation, Christian Javier, of course, looks a little gassed right now. I mean, the starting rotation is exhausted, and that just makes it even worse for the bullpen that's being overworked because of the starting pitching that the Astros have. I mean, think about it. Framber Valdez is the only guy right now that looks pretty solid, and like he could carry the weight. The other guys right now, Christian Javier looks like he's barely getting to the 5 inning mark. Hopefully, he could get to six soon than later. And then, of course, Hunter Brown's still trying to figure out his velocity, his command, his mechanics. JP France has his days. I mean, he looks really great, and Brandon Belak's the same way. So, thank God that the Astros are going to have Jose Urquidy coming back, soon than later, and it will kind of put one of those arms into the bullpen, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll see what they do at the trade deadline.
Yeah, we will see. Like we said, we'll have a good two-part special for the trade deadline, talking about the Astros and, of course, a little bit of around the league. talk about our MLB podcast later on. But let's get that preview going with the Colorado Rockies, the Rocky Mountains, the Mile High City, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the city of champions at this point, because they had the Denver Nuggets who won the NBA championship. And I think 2 years ago, the Colorado Avalanche for the NHL had won it. So the Colorado Rockies are still trying to find their way back into the World Series since I think 2008 was the last time they got there against the
Sounds
Red
about right.
Sox. Yeah, and they were swept, I think, in that series. But 36 and 58 record, last in the NL West, 3-7 their last 10 games. A positive note for the Rockies: won the series against the New York Yankees after the All-Star break, which is the first series of the All-Star break. I mean, they looked like they were going to lose it, but next thing you know, they came back and beat the Yankees that last game of the series. So very promising for the Rockies fans. But let's get that preview going on Tuesday, 7:40 start time in Houston. Hunter Brown 6-6 with a 4.12 ERA versus TBD Angel. I mean, that TBD sounds really frightening if you ask me. So Rockies don't have nobody at that point, but we'll continue to target that and let y'all know. Hunter Brown on the other end, last outing versus Seattle, 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. His last 2 starts, he has struggled big time to reach 5 innings, which is not very promising for this guy. Also, he's had a tough month of July, only being 2 starts combined, 7 innings pitched, 18 hits, 8 earned runs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts. The 14 strikeouts is a plus, but my gosh, a lot of the hitters from the opposing teams are hitting this man pretty hard. So, Angel, I mean, do you think this mini break, from the All Star break happening, you think this will help him, for today's start against the Rockies?
Yeah, I think it would hope, and the Astros would hope, right? Um, how you were saying that Hunter Brown's a young guy who hasn't really thrown, many innings. Just to give you a more clear picture, his highest innings pitched in a regular season is 106, and that was in the minor league. That was in AAA. At the moment now, he's in 94 innings pitched. Like that's closing up on his career high, and it's barely right after the All Star break. He can potentially be close to that number if he throws 6 strong. He just like about 2 more starts, he might be able to reach that number. So yeah, I think this long break could be a very big bonus for him. It'll be interesting to see how he turns around after that performance against Seattle. So I think he can turn it around. He has a longer break. It'll be and then there's no better team to do it against, as the Colorado Rockies have not been living up to the expectation and they're struggling right now. Like you said, 36 and 58. It'll be a great uh it'll be a great team to try to turn it around, as you saw with Brandon B. Like when he when he pitched against the Colorado Rockies, it was one of his career best games. So Astros hope that Hunter Brown can have that success as well.
Yeah, last time Hunter Brown has pitched was July 7, like I said, against Seattle Mariners. But like you said, Brandon Bielak likes this Colorado Rockies team. So let's go with that. On Wednesday, 2:10 start time. Brandon Bielak will be on the mound for the Astros, 4-5 with a 3.79 ERA versus Austin Gomber. The Astros did not face him the last time. He has an 8-7 record with a 6.19 ERA. And speaking of Bielak, let's start off with him. He, like you said, he had a career high, the best career game, I say, in his career against the Rockies. His last outing versus Colorado was 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. But his last recent outing against the Mariners as well, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. The thing with Brandon Bielak is he struggles away from MMA Park. He does not like being on the road, and the stats show, why he doesn't like it. He has a 4.82 ERA on the road. Left-handed hitters have a 4.08 opponent batting average against him, 4.64 WOBA, and right-handed hitters as well, 3.24 opponent batting average with a 4.31 WOBA. So that doesn't sound really promising for Brandon Bielak, especially at a hitter's ballpark like Coors Field, that the ball's going to be flying. I mean, the gaps is what, 390. Left field's like 340 something. I saw before we got on. I mean, it's a hitters friendly park, for opposing hitters and even the Rockies hitters as well. So Brandon Bielak is going to have a day that he's going to have to figure out to get the ball on the ground or even make a routine fly ball, a fly out, pop out, something like that. But Austin Gomber is on the other end for the Rockies. He's a left-handed pitcher. Last outing versus New York, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts. He has yet to allow a walk in his last 2 starts. So that is pretty good if you are a Rockies fan and if you love this pitcher. In 2022, I was looking at his walk to 9 inning ratio, and he does not, allow the walks. So 245 was the walk to 9 innings from last year. In 2023, it does not, it just increases just a little, 281. So this guy's not going to give you the easy pass anytime soon. I mean, you got to have to work for it if you're going to want it. In his past four starts, he's only allowed a max of 2 earned runs. So each start, he only allowed 2 earned runs. We got to look at that. The Astros got to look at that and think of it like, wow, I mean, they got to figure out something to get more runs on the board. But the very interesting fact about him on Baseball Savant, if you look, everything is poor on this guy. It is so bad. Average exit velocity 15 percentile, and when I say poor, I'm like talking poor. The percentiles, if it's like low number, it is a poor number. Uh, Expected batting average 3, strikeout rate 5, chase rate 9, hard hit percentage 13, expected slugging percentage 4, whiff percentage 9. And just looking at the numbers right now, too, expected batting average is a 300. Expected slugging is 533. Expected WOBA 379. Strikeout rate 15. Expected ERA 626. So he has some decent outings his last four starts. Like I said, his last two starts, he didn't give up any walks. The Astros are going to have to make him work for that thing and continue to make that percentile more lower and more poorer. So the Astros, I mean, it's a 2-game series against the Rockies. Yes, they didn't go get the series sweep that they should have against the Angels, but this is a perfect opportunity, just like how the Astros did it in Houston. This is a perfect opportunity to do it over there in Denver against the Colorado Rockies and that Coors Field hitters friendly ballpark, like I said. So the ball's going to be jumping for both sides.
Yeah, definitely. And a big part of the reason why Gombert doesn't allow that many walks and his ERA is pretty high is because, like, if you look at the baseball savant page again, every like all the bright red is where the majority throws his pitches is in the zone. So
Yeah,
the Astros need to be ready to hit because he makes a lot of mistakes, especially with like the sliders and the fastball. So it'll be, this is a great opportunity for that offense to continue their scorching hot streak and score more runs. But it is time for our offensive and pitching MVP and our hot takes. Now we didn't do a podcast before the Anaheim season, so we don't have anything to look back to, so it's gonna be fresh, right? So for me, my offensive MVP is Kyle Tucker. Again, he could have been our player of the game for Sunday, but just got like I think Bregman and Chad McCormick deserved that one. So I say Tucker continues his hot streak, especially in hitter-friendly Coors Field. It'd be looking like Larry Walker, Todd Helton out there, that lefty swing
yeah.
in Coors Field. So that'd be great to see. Hunter Brown, pitching MVP. I think he has a bounce back. I think this break was well needed, and there's no better team to do it against. Um, Astros sweep the Rockies is my hot take for that one. It's a 2-game series. They swept them in Minute Maid. They can complete the entire 4-game sweep for the Astros. I mean, for the
For the season.
for the season. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little soft hot take you got there, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a good one.
Yeah,
But mine coming up, I got Bregman being my offensive MVP. The last game being the Angels, I mean, he wasn't hitting very well in that series until that last game and collecting his first 4-hit game in his career. I think he continues to add on to that going over there to Denver and seeing that ball fly, especially in that altitude over there. I can see it going. Bullpen is going to be my pitching MVP. Of course, like we were talking about, this bullpen is taxed, but they're going to find a way to not give up not a lot of runs, maybe one or two here and there, but they're going to be the Astros bullpen like they were back in 2022 of last year's season. And then my hot take, the Astros will have more home runs than the Colorado Rockies. And the only guy I really could think of from the Rockies being the home run guy is CJ Cron. That man could swing that bat over there. If you've never seen him hit that ball in Coors Field, my gosh, let me tell you, that's going to the concourse in left field, almost hitting the Toyota truck. I don't know if you've seen that video.
no.
And I mean, it hasn't happened this year, but I think it was like either last season or 2 years ago that he almost hit the Toyota truck. So I think the Astros have the bats to do it, especially like you're saying with Kyle Tucker being could be a Todd Helton and Larry Walker kind of guy this series. Alex Bregman hitting a home run. Jose Abreu, I'm looking for him. Maybe see a long ball out there. So perfect opportunity, like we were talking about, Angels. See if they even get there.
Yeah, yeah. You want to go? So it's time for our over and unders. You want to go ahead and take care of this?
Let's do it. So the record right now is 8-6. Mr. Angel has 6. I got 8. It's a battle right now. Our first one being Corey Jokes will have 2 walks. Are you taking the over or the under? And to remind you, he had 2 walks in the series against the Angels. He had 0 walks against the Mariners, and he had 1 walk against the Rockies. Are you taking the over or under with 2 walks? And reminding you, this is a 2-game series, like you told me last time.
Yeah, I took that into account. It's a 2 game series, and there might be a chance Corey Jokes doesn't play one game. As you see, the platoon they have in the outfield, so I'm gonna go with the under on that one.
I'll go over. I
Okay.
feel like he'll play these 2 games.
Okay.
He had he's usually been playing a lot more lately. I mean, him and Chaz, and either him and Chaz or Chaz and not Chaz, him or Jake. But right now, Chaz has that bat, and I think he's going to continue to be in that lineup. And speaking of Chaz McCormick, he's our next one. Chaz McCormick will have 3 hits this series. The Angels, he had 7. The Mariners, he had 2. The Rockies, he had 1, and the Rangers, he had 6. So 3 hits being the number. Angel, where we going? Over or under?
Yeah, if he plays both games, I think he can well do the over. So I'm gonna take more than 3 hits. I'll do the over on that one.
Yep, I think so too. He had a hot streak right there with the Angels. AL Player of the Week coming off. I think he's going to continue his success this coming series. Next one being Jose Abreu, the Pito Power will have 1 home run. The Angels he had 1, Seattle had 0, Colorado he had 0, Texas he had 1. Ooh, now that's a big one right there. Chorus hitters friendly ballpark, 390 in left center, left field. Like I said, 347. I think. What do you think? Over or under for that 1 home run?
You know what? My my head's te- my heart's telling me to do over, but my brain's like do under. So I'm gonna go with the under on that one.
Ooh, I'm gonna go over. I love this guy. I think he's a good ball player. Like I said, I've been a big guy since the Astros signed him. Yes, there's been some bash on him. Of course, he hasn't started lately with the home runs and the power and all this stuff. He's picked it up in June. He's picked it up in July. I see a homer flying out, of course, maybe into them Rocky Mountains over there in the sunset.
Yeah,
So
I went for the over on this one, but I can see a few doubles off the bat of Jose Abreu.
you meant under.
Yeah, I'm
You,
sorry.
you see, you
Yeah,
see,
there you
you were
go.
thinking about over. You
I
see.
was. I, I meant to say, yeah, I went under, but I can see a few doubles off Jose Abreu's bat.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Brandon Belak, let's move on to pitching now. He will allow 3 earned runs. Reminding you, Seattle, he had 2. Colorado, he had 0. Cincinnati, he had 4. And Cleveland, he had 5. So Belak will allow 3 earned runs over under against the Rockies.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the over on this one. Yes, he pitched well against
Wow.
the Colorado Rockies, but he's also playing in hitters friendly course field, so I would say over on that one.
I'm gonna go with under on this one. Yes, the numbers I was saying if before on the preview wasn't pretty. For something, what 482 ERA, batting averages opponents from the left hand, right hand. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but the Astros need somebody to step up because this bullpen's been taxed. This guy's going to give you 5 or 6 innings at least. And plus, the Astros are going to be hitting at this ballpark at Chorus. I think they're going to take full advantage of being, for the dimensions being from the left center, right center, center field, left field, right field, all the dimensions in this ballpark. I think they're going to take advantage and help him out. But I think be like, does good being the first time being on the road this second half of the season. And our last one, the Astros hold the Rockies to 7 runs. 2 games, 7 runs. Remind you, this is the Rockies scoring from each series. The Yankees, they scored 18. The Giants, they scored 8. The Astros, they scored 5. And Detroit, they scored 19. They're going to Hunter Brown and Brandon Belak. What do we go over under on 7 runs? The Rockies will score.
That's a tough one because it's a 2 game series, and I said Brandon B doesn't go over 3, and they're going against Hunter Brown and Brandon B who struggles away, so I'm gonna go over 7 runs on this one. It's gonna be a hard fought series in Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be over too. I think both offenses are going to be slugging through, especially the Astros, how they're coming back from that Angels series, slugging the ball. And same thing as the Rockies. I mean, they put up 18 runs in 3 games against the Yankees. The Giants before the All Star break, 8. That's not a bad number, but yeah, I got to agree with you on this one. I'm going to go over being with both offenses showing out.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll have to see with that. Of course, we usually do around the league on our podcast, but if you have not seen lately, we had posted on our Twitter that we are now on MLB podcast called At the Track MLB Podcast. If you have seen it, we had mentioned it on our Twitter. We have yet to mention it on our Instagram, but look us up there. We're going to be talking more baseball, a more, not just Astros, but we're going to talk about the whole 30 teams that are playing out there. What is it, 30 or 32? I always get that number
30.
mixed up. 30, right? Okay.
Football's 32.
32. You see, God, you gotta love sports. And the expansion teams are coming in baseball, so we'll add 32 soon. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the updates, the latest updates. Favorite baseball players that you think of, to Fernando Tatis Jr., to Vladdy Jr.,
Ellie de la
Ellie
Cruz.
De La Cruz, one of the most electrified players right now. Of course, Christian Encarnacio Strand.
Beat me
I
to
think that
that
was his
one.
name.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's our little fantasy update right there. I beat Angel to get in that player, since he beat me to Dela Cruz. But yeah, follow us on there. I mean, we're gonna be starting, like I said, talking about that, and of course, it's not just gonna be talking about baseball. We'll be talking about culture, life, fashion, all that stuff. Instead of getting the players' feedback from their games and things like that, we're gonna talk about these questions with them, what they do on an off day. What's their go-to food, go-to meal, all these fun, little questions that we're going to ask these guys. So give us a follow on there. Listen to um, our latest episode on there, as well, as we just started literally like about 2 or 3 days ago with that
Yeah.
podcast. So
We have
yeah, I mean, it's
one recording
freshly
so
brand new.
far. Yeah, one
Yeah,
recording so
fresh.
far.
Yeah, freshly brand new. So give us a follow and a subscribe onto the podcast platforms. And of course, on here, subscribe to our platforms on Google, Spotify, Apple. Follow us on Twitter at Full Steam Ahead. Same thing as on TikTok, as well as on YouTube and Threads as well. Well, of course, we got our thread up there. It's fairly brand new, since it's been brand new, like what, this month, I would say.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're trying to build that up. Same thing as Instagram. Instagram is FSA, Full Steam Ahead. So, that is all for me. Angel, you got anything else you want to add before we sign off?
No, everything's good. Again, at the track podcast, MLB podcast, follow us there if you enjoy hearing our voices talk about baseball. And thank you for all the support. Oh,
Definitely.
who was our winner? Who we're gonna shout out for
Oh,
the?
our winner, yeah. Adam Nguyen. Thank you for your support. And of course, we've always seen you on Twitter, to our Instagram, to YouTube. You were the lucky winner out of this drawing from the All-Star edition. I mean, shoot, dude, it was a cool little giveaway,
It
actually. I
was
mean,
about
the
time he won. He's always been a big support.
Yeah, you got an all-star game towel. You got an all-star game koozie as well. You can put your water, your soft drinks, whatever you want to put in there, and of course a pin from the all-star game. Them pins are so pretty. I this is probably one of the prettiest logos from the all-star game I've seen in a while. I think this one beats Colorado, because I really like Colorado's. LA's was all right, but Seattle's was. I mean, it was so pretty out there. So, congrats to Adam Wynn on winning that. Oh, what you want to show? Oh yeah, that was 2021's right there. I gotta go with 2023. I like the Space Needle and the mountains and the trees in the background. That looked really nice. But yes, congrats to you, Adam Wynn. And like I said, we'll recap that series against the Rockies and preview the next one against the Oakland Athletics. I mean, that should be a good series for the Astros to go out there to the Bay Area and win. But of course, we'll have to see. But other than that, that is all for our show. We'll talk to y'all guys later.
Peace.